Some exciting fights for sure here. T1 coming in with some beautiful potential Grimstroke combos this game, Fogged. I mean, what do you sort of reckon about this one? Do you think this Anti-Mage lineup from T1 is going to work out, or New Esports are going to be able to bring some pretty scary fight?
I definitely do like what they have with the Anti-Mage. Anti-Mage doesn't have like this incredible matchup or anything throughout the game, but he will become the strongest in the game if he gets, if he gets space. If they get to the point where it's late game, if Ursa is not leading with a crazy net worth lead, definitely do see a great chance for T1 in this game.
All right, well, let's see how it plays out. Everything on the line here. Game 3, ladies and gentlemen, of T1 versus New Esports.
Holy moly!
So let's see if they are able to make this a game where Meracle's going to get the time to get to that point where, as you say, on paper, sort of what the late game looks pretty good for a farmed Anti-Mage.
30 seconds.
Yeah, on paper, right? That's always how we, because it could get to, it could be a point where just New Esports steamrolls and then AM doesn't even have a game, but I don't think that's the case. T1 does have pretty strong draft, and neither team actually has really picked any objective taking. Revenge is kind of the big enabler, I guess, on the side of New Esports for them to take at least the Roche and to get objectives, because it is a mid-venge. But besides that, there's no real big objective team. It's just going to be a lot of duking out and battling. Which when I see and I look at overall teamfight aspects, I look at T1 and they have way more overwhelming teamfight. New Esports is a lot about just getting pickoffs, getting an arrow with a cog, you know, grabbing a hero and getting a number advantage before the start. While T1 is just click your ults, kind of like the panel was saying. They just click their ults on heroes. If they just get a double Doom, a double Chain Frost, they're very likely to just win the fights.
Yeah, we see the lane setup. So, I mean, who's trying to dodge who? What's going on here? Because T1, they've brought Meracle down to the bottom lane. Is this with intention of him farming into this solo BAP? Or were they trying to get sort of the tri-lane versus tri-lane head on? Who's dodging who?
I think they're both dodging.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think they're both trying to dodge aggression. I do think that New Esports probably wanted to be the ones laning versus the AM more so, and T1's kind of dodging. But I think they might even just keep the lanes the way that they are. At least on the side of New, until they see a rotation. As soon as they see the Lich, yeah, Mosin makes the move.
Okay, so just the support's going to change things up.
Yep.
Yeah.
So changes for Grimstroke in particular. This hero already was incredibly strong and got buffed. Double, actually. Got a ranged buff as well as a cast range talent at 10, which is incredibly nice for the hero. As I actually thought Grimstroke was already incredibly strong, so it was very weird to see that he got double buffed.
Yeah, that's you're right. That's pretty crazy. I mean, Grim absolutely was a very hot hero. We've seen a lot of teams here in the SEA League use it very well.
Not gonna happen.
Gets himself secured that range creep. Yep. Second range creep. Denied.
And then this mid matchup again, DPZ. This time around playing the Venge in your dream on the Tiny. I mean, you said you sort of wanted to see the mid laners be some sort of do something heroes, and both of these heroes are that, right?
Perfect. Yeah. Easy to make moves around with both these. Just having stuns, having setup always is going to be nice. I think this lane matchup should be pretty even. I'm not too sure how the Tiny matchup is now with Tree Grab actually having charge limit. But Venge, I feel like Venge always just comes out even when I see pretty much any matchup for her in the mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, with sort of the tree change, I mean, obviously in your dream has still taken a point in it. I mean, is it always still going to be worth putting 1 point in it for the lane, even though you only get these 5 hits now with it?
If you're mid, I mean, if you're mid solo, if you're a solo carry, like a core hero, absolutely. You probably just still need it just for the last hits.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think at least. I probably have to look more, let me just look more a little bit at the numbers. It's still really strong, like they increase the amount of damage it does do.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, then that makes sense, yeah, sure, it's just 5 hits, but then what is now basically 5 guaranteed hits.
Yeah.
The other numbers.
You don't get slowed, which is actually pretty useful. I feel like it's really annoying losing 30 range speed on a hero like Tiny is already not the best, so.
Bottom lane, yeah, Candy. Able to run him down there with the napalm stacks onto Yocam.
This hero Yeah, something still hasn't changed. Batrider still is an insane laning hero. Sticky Napalm is always going to be a concept that's absurd. Be sure he's not getting the most last hits, but always going to build the threat and kills.
On. There we have on the top lane. Pollison's able to get the kill onto Yamate and also able to TP away before Lance is able to build the swipes up on him.
That's an interesting one. Level, I mean, he's a level 2 Mirana. He used all 3 leap charges. Just gets caught off guard by that, I guess.
Yeah, man, Pollison, you know, he was, he literally was level 1. It was only Frost Blast coming in, so must be Yamate just sticking around far too low on the HP.
Pollison did have, when he started the lanes, was triple mango and a mango, so he had 4 mangoes. So he did have to expend a lot of them to go for the kill.
In mid, and we'll be able to make sure that In Your Dream doesn't get the bottle refill. EDC holds to mid for the stun, as Mozin's able to come in. Actually, pick up an Invis rune. I mean, see if they can do anything here on the bottom. Unlikely though, because Creep Wave is pushing in underneath the tower. Yeah, Mozin's just going to pop out straight away. As with the creeps in this position, can't really catch T1 by surprise.
Yep, I like how Candy's playing this lane a lot, actually, down bottom. He's actually just sticking the wave and forcing it to push in up top, actually. In the meantime, Pollison getting chased.
Not gonna happen.
Should have a solid chance, but they got Earthshock in a second, but no, the body blocks for Earth's going to stop them from chasing down Pollison. Pollison has got a salve out in the lane.
So yeah, Candy, he's actually forcing the wave in and then pulling the side over and over again. So they're actually denying a decent amount of farm from Meracle down bottom. Runes will be coming out here. Mozin. Actually gets it.
He does. He's able to take it away from him. He'll die for this. But he got the bounty rune for his team.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
He's able to pick that up. So that was 3 bounty runes going the way of New.
Yep. DDZ is actually dominating the mid lane too, just going for the straight stat build. So I guess the tree grab is definitely affecting DDZ in Your Dream. He's not able to get as many last hits with it. DDZ having pretty much the same base damage as a Tiny.
He's doing very well in that sense, and we'll see what DDZ goes for. I mean, already having these obviously triple raid bans, he's got an insane amount of early game stats to fight with.
Yep. He can just go for the treads, you know. I don't think he needs to like sacrifice his game away going for some other supportive item. He's getting collapsed on though. They're definitely going to make an aggressive move.
So I think again, he's going to head up for the 6-minute rune, of course. See if he gets lucky with it. Yamate as well, ready to offer up an arrow if they do go onto him. The rune's going to be bottom. Mozin's able to get it, so New Esports still able to secure it. They go over the combo on DDZ actually swapping in aggressively to find Pollison. It will work. He gets the kill on Pollison, turns with the one-shot. DDZ, he's still alive. He's walking this off, at least trying his best to do so before it will come over and offer up the extra bit of damage needed to take down DDZ. So DDZ will fall. Both teams bringing in a lot of heroes towards this mid area.
Meracle, bottom. He's actually getting chased. Doesn't even have to use the lasso, Candy.
Is that good?
Okay, yes, he will.
No. We can still turn things
I mean, you're right. He didn't really need to. He probably could have had that without. But I mean, either way, you know, you don't really care using your lasso at all because you're killing off Meracle's Anti-Mage early in a solo situation. So, Candy, very nicely done there, finding a chance to run down Meracle whilst his level 1 blink was still on cooldown.
Yeah, great aggressive moves. Those are all just like reads of the map, right? You see the supports rotate mid, you know you're in a solo matchup. Meracle not recognizing how weak he really is versus Candy, and Candy capitalizes. It's going to be a very early boost of travel at this pace for Candy. And I mean, the lanes are all going great for New Esports.
Dire's middle tower.
Yeah, top 3 network. All those are the cause of New Esports right now.
Mozin also finds Jokem in the river.
See, T1 can do anything with his move down bottom. Coming in with this smoke. Are they able to catch Candy? It's not going to be too easy unless Candy gets aggressive himself, but that's on cooldown. They'll probably be a little careful. Yeah, he's starting to lead away. The smoke spins a spell. They enter the lane, and Candy's already able to step into the trees. So, unfortunately for T1, not getting that play that they were hoping for, bringing In Your Dream down to the bottom lane.
Nope, and he has to quickly move back toward mid because DDZ was going to start pressuring the tower quite hard there. Yeah, like we said, this is exactly what they need to do with their draft, though. They are playing versus a very late game scaling draft, and theirs is more about that early game centric style. So right now, they're taking their boxes.
Oh, and the river. I mean, Mozart, this is kind of sort of the third time he's done it. He's done an excellent job of making sure that new esports always get the power runes. Always on the mark every 2 minutes in the river. And he's been able to call it right with the RNG every time so far this game.
It is a pretty fantastic clockwork game. When you're playing versus two fragile support heroes, these two, I mean, what we could say is 2 5 positions, right? The Grimstroke and the Lich. He has a lot of freedom to always just go on either one of these. And should be able to do quite a lot of damage. Actually, a lot of the heroes in this game he can. I mean, he can get tossed out, in particular from the Tiny, and the AM can blink away, but 3 of the heroes do not enjoy playing versus Clockwork.
They really want to do something about Candy down bottom. You've
do.
got 4F coming down here as well to join Meracle. There's 4 heroes here. I mean,
Lance is getting all the space in the
Dire's
world during
middle
this.
tower
I mean,
is under
this
attack.
is a heavy commitment.
I mean, he's deep behind the
Radiant
tower.
are scanning.
How are they going to get on top of him? This is 3 heroes just sitting there, watching. What's the plan? Here we go. All right, but he got the Firefly off. He does still get caught by the X-Well stun. They do manage to slow him. They're coming in. They get the kill. That's a good job they did, as I say. They bring 4 heroes down here, and they spend quite a bit of time watching that. But they do
Dire's top
manage to
tower is
kill
under
him.
attack.
Is it worth it though? As you say, DDZ's having all the space mid. Lance is getting an incredible amount of solo space top.
And they're not going to be able to get this tower. I mean, this was an aggressive move to try to secure Miracle's lane a bit more, but don't think they actually get very
Dire's
ahead because of it. They're all staying down here maybe to get a secondary kill, and then
Dire's
that'll
top
make it more
tower
worth
is
it.
under
But
attack.
I mean, top tower is going to die. Mid
Dire's
tower,
turret
DDZ
has been killed.
I mean, the world's his oyster. What he wants to do. He's actually going to just kill Pelosin in the river really quick. Oh, uphill miss. JK.
The arrow from Yamato does mean that he's going to be able to step up and send that bounty
Is
room.
under attack.
Again,
Quite a courier.
set up 3 batteries back in the river. Meracle, he's getting run down. Miracle's in trouble. The silence. What's the heck for getting initial asset from there? He's still able to find it. Candy grabs Meracle. Miracle's got the blink back in time. They didn't have enough damage. Meracle lucky to get out of this one.
Yamato's on him.
Radiant's
Yamato's able to
bottom
snipe
tower
him.
is
Jumps
under
in with the Star Storm.
Dire's top
Meracle
tower
will
is
still
under
end up
attack.
going down. Team 1. They've got to find something else here. They are in onto Yamate with the Avalanche, but Yamate's got the Midnight Shadow. He's out of this. Modern steps up with the close trap. Yokam. It's a double kill for DDZ, fighting from the grave here with his illusion. Candy, he's underneath the tower here, was tossed in, and he's ended up killing off 4F. Topolison goes in with the TP, will manage to pull back Modern underneath the tower here, so they managed to get the clock kill in return. But still very scrappy here from T1 as New Esports now at a 4K advantage.
I mean, Lance just took a top tower and got 5 creep waves during that 4v5 scenario, and New Esports won on the
Dire's
4v5.
middle tower is
DDZ's
under
illusion
attack.
killed off 2 heroes during that fight. Yamate not only takes the
Dire's
bounty rune,
structures
he
are
also kills a courier in the back line, and then also kills Meracle. That was like the best possible situation, it feels like, for New Esports. While Lance is just absolutely free farming during the entirety of it. So, you know, we said that there's a chance in this game where Anti-Mage doesn't even get to have a game. It's starting to look like that might be the case. T1 need to have things start going better into their favor. They need to start utilizing their ults, and the movement's just better. But they're level 4 on the support and level 4 on the Lich and 5 on the Grimstroke, so their team fight's not strong. And New Esports, with their successful lanes, they just have much easier ways of just running at T1 right now.
Yeah, both supports were all ready to go on New Esports.
Yep.
As we see Mosin smoking up with DDZ. He wants to try and find something with the hook shot. Bottom lane would be pretty ideal. Candy's got the lasso. Hook shot to a lasso. Could do something here. Does knock him back. Doesn't want to try for the lasso. Anti-Meracle knowing that he could be quick with the counter spell.
In your dream, he's gonna be going for... What item is he going for here? He's going for like a drum or something? Okay, so he's not going for a blink, it looks like. They're gonna have some tough ways of initiating. 4F bottom. Shows his face. Oh, I think this game's gonna get real ugly real fast, Owen.
Yeah, this is 5K lead at 12 minutes in, and as you say, this Lance, he's not seen another hero for pretty much the whole game. He's going to have an incredibly quick battle fury. I mean, without a doubt, a battle fury is going to come a lot quicker than Anti-Mage. There's the combo though. So behind his head, the He's going to toss out with the chainsaw. So takes out the back. Finds it easy as well. Exactly what T1 needed. Monson, he's stepping back in though with the Venge illusion. They're punching back. Kill off the Lich. Lance, he's turned up as well for the action. In Your Dream trying to run. Mozen, he's got a rocket flare. And Yamate, he's there with a Raph Brown cutting off In Your Dream for the side. In Your Dream will toss him away. The Yamate leaps straight back over. In Your Dream, he's running. He's still living, 20 HP. Arrow gives them the vision and wraps around. But they get the kill nonetheless. Mozen with the battery assault pumping out will take him down with that final hit.
And New Esports actually ends up getting more out of their move to respond down bottom. And Mozen,
the Cogs pushing back for into the lasso. More kills for Lance to get himself now involved in.
Attack.
7k advantage now. It's only just getting greater and greater, this lead for New Esports, and so early as well.
yeah, and it's not just gold, it's experience as well. They have a 7,000 experience lead at the 13-minute mark. They're just all so much stronger. And T1, they just used so many of their ults. They're going to try to set up again onto Candy.
Let's see what they can do here. This Candy is kind of low. Well, with the boosted
so
draft, he's
fast.
speedy. Yeah, he's out there. There's nothing to catch him. He is
Look
away.
at this Miracle getting pressured by DDZ in the meantime when he's trying to get some farm. Candy ports immediately to mid, grabs an Invis Rune. He's probably going to look to just keep putting the pressure on too. T1, they're just getting outplayed, outmoved, and they can't respond. They have to wait pretty much for Chain Frost and Soulbind, but it's a bit of a slow pace if they're going to just wait for those ultis every single time before they can actually match New Esports aggression.
Maybe with the Soulbind Doom, so find something if we've got any smokes out at the moment on T1. It doesn't look like it. So no way to sort of get out there right now. Got to keep these moves going out. Okay, there's one on the way. And you do have one coming out to Polison, so it really does feel that they've got to try and open up the map more, get some kills. At this point of the game, when they're 7k down, just sort of making space for Meracle doesn't seem enough. They've got to actively be getting something out of their ults for the rest of the team. They can't afford to fall this far behind. They lane the towers down, and that'll be it. Lance has got the completed Battle Fury out as well. So we'll see how's Miracle's progress looking.
Invis.
It's still a sword
on
away.
Miracle. Oh, he actually gets it off.
Oh,
He walked into tower range?
He walked into tower range. Oh
Candy.
no, Candy Loon. He absolutely did. He just came too close on the high ground there. And Meracle saw him. A bit of a whiff there from the bat for sure. That would have been a guaranteed pick-off. Mid lane.
Mid lane though.
They missed the arrow combo. Might not matter for killing off In Your Dream, but they may hit a little bit themselves. The soul binds out. In fact, In Your Dream doesn't end up going down, so that win combo is costing them. As both go down, last step forward. They've lost 3 though on New Esports. Lance will be able to claim the line for 4M. Him and Candy trying to see if they can chase for anything further, but the swell on Yokam's forcing Candy to back away. In Your Dream and Miracle still trying to look at this. Candy actually gets back in with a flame break, and they get the 2 kills on a Yokam and In Your Dream. They do end up still going down, fighting into the Firefly and getting knocked back into it.
Middle tower.
So even then, where sort of New Esports, they make a bit of a mistake up top with that attempted kill onto Meracle. They whip the combo mid. Still doesn't matter. At the end of the day, they end up increasing their lead. Lance gets more money out of it all. Oh, 1-0-3.
Bottom, Miracle almost ends up getting killed there. He actually almost got Yule's arrow comboed, but he gets the reflect on the Yule's. Yeah, I mean, New Esports end up getting those last 2 couple cleanup kills for Lance and for Candy, and they actually come out ahead again in the team fight, even though T1 gets the double doom off at the start of it.
Under attack.
They're still just leading the charge, 9k lead in both experience and gold.
Yeah, 3k difference, for example, between Lance and Meracle right now. A massive gap between these carries this early on in the game.
Yeah, that's going to be a big concern. I do think that New Esports can maximize even more, though. I think the 4 of these heroes can actually run around, and maybe Ursa can just go Roche during the downtime. Maybe just with a +1 or something like that. They have a lot of freedom on the map right now. It's T1. Like we said, they have to pretty much wait for their Soulbind double ultis every single time. They do have In Your Dream Blink now, though. That's going to enable a little bit more of some movements. And they do see Mozen as well as DDZ moving toward bottom.
And we're going to jump forward. Going to try and burst down Mozen with a blink combo, and In Your Dream will be able to do it. Block down. Nice Shadow Fox if you want to get back in on this.
Candy has the blink.
He's going to go for the opening onto the Doom. Jumps in, grabs the Doom back. In Your Dream's going to try and go in with the Avalanche combo to save Forev, but he can't do it. Forev's already dead. Forev will buy back. In Your Dream's got to burn the arrow down. He'll hit. off in time to get the Doom off the two of them. Still, their lives will go down. They get the kills, T1. DDZ will also fall. Candy, he's still trying to play around with this. He knows that 4F4 back, and he's getting an napalm stack, so that's an arrow onto the floor, and he's in the Firefly. This is going to be a dieback from Forever for sure, as he's left to the hands of Mozen and Yamate to finish him off. Again, T1, they're trying their best to turn up to these fights, and they are getting some of the core kills, but they're just not getting enough. In these fights, they're still losing out overall. A dieback on 4F, his game now falling into the bottom half of the net worth. They're fourth lowest at the moment on the Doom, and this is a hero as well that we've seen in previous games have such a good time. This hero can get so much farm, so to see that hero in that low of a position just really goes to show how hard of a game T1's having right now.
Absolutely, and they get the thing is that every single time these fights, they're getting the ideal targets too, right? They're getting the Grimstroke ulti with the double chain frost. That time it wasn't a double Doom, but the Doom ended up getting a decent cleanup. It's just every single time, even when they get the combos, it seems like New Esports cleans up the fight. And the way they're cleaning up the fight, actually, a lot of times, is DDZ's illusion. He killed the Grimstroke from full HP with his illusion that time. It's pretty hysterical, but it will happen. That illusion is no joke when it is core. And now with those ultis on cooldown, yeah, they ping the rush. This one should be free for them. I don't believe T1 can contest this.
Yeah, here we have it. This should be an easy rush. As you say, Revenge, no problem taking this one out in a few seconds. They're going to look to, of course, stay very active with this Aegis. Smoke up immediately as they leave the pit, and they're on the hunt.
They don't have to wait for any cooldowns like T1 does. Doom still on cooldown for 35 seconds. They're going to be getting a good flank here. Mozen claiming the high ground. For those bounties, Pelosin on the front line too.
DDZ with the swap back, getting with the magic missile onto Pelosin. Mozen over the hook shot onto Yokam. Arrow follow on from Yamate. That's going to be the two supports down. The throw out of Chain Frost, it ain't going to do much at all. Yamate able to quickly split with the lead.
They want more. They get the last on the back.
They do. They get the drag back onto In Your Dream. They step forward. They're on top of the Ursa. To get picked up for high ground by the Cogs. He still falls. New Esports. A beautiful move there. They get the three of them. They've also got that mid lane pushing in so they could try for the tier 2 there. Meracle trying his best to cut the wave, keep the pressure on the side lanes. Desperately trying to farm his way back into this game. But the rest of his team just continuing to suffer at the hands of New Esports.
They're going to try to read the movement now. They just saw where Meracle is. He killed the courier. Let's watch where Yamate goes. I think he's going to be the biggest one to watch him hunting right now. He's got an idea of where the AM is. He's got the Euls plus a Meteor Hammer, so he's got a combo. Won't be able to find the AM though. But he was hunting. 14,000 gold lead, increasing just at a constant rate. That experience too, 12,000. Meracle needs a hell of a lot more time, and even if he does get a lot more time, this AM, if you know, he doesn't have this fantastic core matchup like we were mentioning earlier. Like, these heroes don't have big mana pools. Bat Rider does, but Venge and Ursa, you know, mana void is not ever going to be that humongous thing they have to worry about. Maybe the Venge a bit, but not Ursa. Ursa will just stand there toe-to-toe with the AM at this pace of farm.
After the swap into the arrow, they won't get the connection. Now DDZ is in pretty deep there because of that swap attempt. In fact, he's in the midst of all five as they turn onto it. Revenge, DDZ will fall. Meracle has the point. He's in the catch, the three of them in the course.
Oh my god.
Going to work. A 3 down on T1. They're going to step over as well. Like Bring Your Dream is able to toss back the Ursa. Slow it away. This illusion from DDZ helps finish him off inside the base, behind the tier 3s. Whilst they still have all the tier 2s up. That's how aggressive New Esports can get away with being right now, just diving into the base. And there's not a single thing that T1 can do to stop them.
Oh, Mozen. 3-man cog into the battlefield. Picture perfect moment there. DDZ dies, right? But like I was mentioning earlier, DDZ's illusion is killing people, and he still provides everything even if he's dead during all of it. So they, in theory, didn't lose anything there, and they just steamroll the fight. Age is still online. Yeah, this game's getting, like we said, pretty out of hand for T1 quite a long time ago, and it does not seem to be getting any easier as their map has tried.
It's getting a whole lot smaller, 18k lead. Yeah, this game. It's just another sort of showing of New Esports running them over. I mean, it felt like T1 would have a bit of a better shot at the same time, I guess, you know, going for the sort of anti-mage draft, it is very much a lineup where you're heavily relying on the AM to carry you, and a similar sort of setup of strategy that New Esports had shown in the previous game against Meracle's Terrorblade, that they're more than happy to play against that sort of style.
Yeah, I mean, it's this fast, aggressive style that has multiple kind of heroes that scale. When, yeah, I don't know, T1 again, it's going for this 4 protect 1, but it's not like what this AM was the absolute last pick of the game too, right? And I look at him, it's not like he has a fantastic core matchup. Like even late game scenarios when you're playing versus Ursa now, AM back in the day, you know, you Abyssal, blah blah blah. Ursa now, if you're playing to the late game, Ursa's gonna probably have a lot of farm, and he can stand toe to toe with you. He can man fight you pretty well. So it's, yeah, just a bit weird that they go for this AM pick again. Just really wanting to force that 4 protect 1 always. And
it's like maybe it's sort of a setup where you're able to make sure that the anti-mage gets the Battle Fury before the Ursa, right? And he does sort of get that Manta.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's at least able to turn up to the fights by the time that Lance has his Battle Fury and his S&Y. Then you got a bit of a solid chance, but obviously the way that this played out, you know, Lance, he just had all the space in the world up on the top lane. T1, they were trying to put all their focus in trying to keep the anti-mage safe rather than necessarily slowing down Lance's game, and it's just meant there's this huge discrepancy in farm now between Lance and Meracle.
Yeah, I feel like the way that New Esports played their style was the way that T1 should have played their style, right? Like the AM, it should be the Ursa, where he's playing up away from everybody, but he's the one constantly in the fights because he's getting ran at because they put him in the bottom lane. Like he's 0-3. You can really feel that it's because the way that they set up and just put so much attention making the wave move bottom instead of him being top. So yeah, these things definitely do add up in New Esports. This is, like you said, this is the kind of draft they like to play. Just very aggressive, constant run at you, making plays happen, and it's worked very well. Still got the Aegis for about a minute. This Ursa is an absolute beast, so he can frontline level 18. They can smoke. They can definitely look for something here. Look at the way the T1's playing, all just sitting next to Meracle for him to finish his Manta. But he's still a ways away.
So we go Lance. Charge straight up to the high ground.
In your dream.
He's got the setup onto the tiny Yamate. What more has he got to offer here? Tries to jump in.
Dominating!
But the arrow onto In Your Dream. That's a dead tiny for 70 seconds. I mean, In Your Dream, his buyback still on cooldown from that last fight. Full minute where New Esports can look for objectives. The side lanes have been pushed out very nicely by T1, so a bit of time is going to have to be taken with Candy stepping back to bring around this bottom lane. Meracle's farm still here trying to get that Manta complete.
Dire's middle barracks
500
are
gold
under
off the
attack.
ultimate orb. Lance is closing in on a full BKB on top of the S&Y Battle Fury himself.
He needs so much more. Like it's the Tiny and the Dooms game is just over. They're not gonna contribute much. It's really just 4F has to get the double Doom targets for them to have any type of hope in these matchups in any of these fights.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
New constantly though prepared, always ready for the jump. Candy with BKB with a haste with his blink.
Dire's bottom tower
Very
has
likely
fallen.
to get an ideal jump for his team.
Dire's bottom tower is under
Ready to
attack.
push in on the bottom. See what sort of an answer they come in with T1. They've got to respond to this. Candy in the trees
Radiant's
is getting
top
pinged
tower
out
is
though.
under
Still going to be able to jump
attack.
forward. Does he get a grab though? Quick blink back to the side from In Your Dream. Will avoid being caught.
That was a little risky by Candy. He could have gotten Sinister Gaze. It was very close to him actually getting grabbed there and could potentially get brought down. So they will hold the
Radiant's
base while the
top
AM,
tower
while
is
Meracle
under
does
attack.
find the farm on the sides there.
And you just calming it down a bit again, making sure they've got a couple of waves at least pushing into the base.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Before they try and make
Meracle.
that jump once more.
Yeah, Miracle, whenever he's not seeing people on the map, he's actually spamming his counter spell on certain creep camps. So he is trying to cover himself in case of like the Bat Rider or something catching him off guard. T1, they're pushing themselves forward a little bit here.
Got these smokes to work with. Nobody carrying a smoke at the moment.
The prize is mine.
Meracle, I mean, what do you sort of do as the anti-mage in this situation? Like, what is going to give you any sort of chance in the fight? So do you still have to get the flash, or do you need to get like a BKB so you can actually fight and not worry about just being stunned?
God, it feels so bad to play without Bat. I feel like they can't win fights without the Basher. Like,
So
I think he needs to get like Abyssal, right? Like if he gets to a point where he has Abyssal and they have double Abyssal with the Grimstroke ult, maybe they have ways to take the fight. But I mean, he just still needs more time. Even one item isn't gonna help them at this point, unless they get some beautiful double ulti and new Esports overextends. He needs like 2 items really to contribute.
Grab on Polison, as Polison was trying to step out.
Radiant's top tower
Vision
is
control
under
back in
attack.
favor of T1. Isn't going to be the case though.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Miracle is creeping toward that Basher. He pretty much has the gold for it now if he wants to. They're probably going to press the issue forward here. If they do find any person, if they get any pickoff, it's very likely to be that Rax taken out. They're going to slowly work on it now.
Then
What's T1 going to do? He's going to let it go. Fortification is out from T1. And you not showing any signs of stopping in your dream. Who's going to offer the toss back? Does it get Lance in underneath tier 4 to get the ult up in time? That turns out your dream. And your dream shoved to the side, saved by the 4-star. The Rats, they will slowly fall, or maybe not, still alive for now. And Lance, he's gone. Doom's out onto the 2 of them with the soul bind. They kill the Ursa. They're going to be able to get DDZ as well. And the melee Rats, they weren't quite finished off. They kept them alive. In your dream, also tossing off Mosin to the side. Mosin unable to finish off the kill onto the Tiny. They're going to lose 3 heroes here in New Esports, and they do not get the Rax. The Rax remain alive.
Radiant's
Pretty
middle
huge.
tower is
Toss
under
backs.
attack.
That was a very nice play for them. They forced Lance's ult early on. They tried to help him out. I think the Venge, I think he swapped the AM to try to move him out or something. He swapped the counter, the spell shield, so it actually didn't do anything. But yeah, he didn't end up actually able, he wasn't actually able to save Lance there, which was a little weird. I thought he'd be in a better position to do so. And yeah, T1, they punch back finally. AM is now going to be top net worth. We'll see what Miracle can actually do in this game now, as he's gotten the chance to be able to play.
Yes, I mean, we've seen many of these games in the league. They get pretty crazy around this sort of time. If suddenly one sort of failed attempt at pushing the high ground can sort of just expand into a massive turnaround. So they got to be careful, New Esports. Yeah, they mess up that high ground siege once and again. Next time around they're going to be only at 10k lead, then at 5k, then they're going to be even. Sort of a couple more defenses like that from T1 will put this base back, this game back in an equal position.
Yeah, the next big step for them really is if they can win that fight before the Roche. Try to take a fight before the Roche and try to get that type of advantage. Because once Roche spawns, New Esports, they're going to go straight for it. And it's going to be pretty tough for you to slow them down there. 30 seconds until Doom is back up, and Roche is going to be spawning in 5 seconds. If they're able to get that Roche on New Esports, T1 is going to have a real tough time to fight to try to get any Doom target properly.
Tower has fallen.
And yeah, Roche is back up. New Esports have a lot of aggressive wards placed down too to probably see the movements that were coming up from T1. T1 also has a lot of wards on that left side to watch the Roche. And now have a blink on Grimstroke. So much better opportunities for them to get the double Dooms.
Under attack.
Let's see if they can.
Scanning.
Scan comes out from T1, so they know where they are. The BKB's out. Candy is still Miracle is in a lot of trouble. Just a big out in the last moment. Miracle now. The last on to go down into the arrow, takes down the Grim. The Lich to fall as well. Candy on top of In Your Dream, but In Your Dream goes straight for the TP out. Nothing to cancel it. So it's just the 2 supports getting picked off. The rest of the team are getting out there. I mean, you saw Meracle only just getting away there, getting the blink off before that final hit came through that would have taken him out.
And that's the scary thing of, you know, we mentioned how AM can be this insane here in late game, but Lance is a big scary bear that he can actually stand toe-to-toe with the AM pretty easily. And now has Abyssal finished. So he's got, if he had that before, that was a dead AM.
Are under attack.
Rex
Dyer's
will
middle
get taken
barracks
out.
has fallen.
T1 still does have all their ultimates available when they do
Dyer's middle
respawn.
barracks has fallen.
Meracle only a few hundred away from the Abyssal. Coming on this top lane, DDZ. I wonder if Meracle's... No, he's going to play super safe. He's not going to try and jump in on that. Get himself back to base. So the recipe, and just a few creep waves away from having that item completed. Yep.
Oh, wow. Clockwork actually... Okay, I was like, there's no way anyone ever takes the battery assault damage talent anymore. He takes it over the +1 cog to kill. I thought that talent is insane. That like changes the dynamic of the hero, but alright. Mosin doesn't want to have three hit cogs.
Yeah, I guess not. No, I think you're right. I think, yeah, that's an interesting decision.
I thought that's like one of the reasons, you know, like one of the reasons they picked this hero too, because he got a pretty big buff in the patch. But it is good in the game anyway versus all those squishy supports in the match. Cogs though. A lot of these 15 talents are really interesting now. They've changed a lot of the way the dynamic works for a bunch of them. And here we go, that push. Aegis and Cheese at the ready, both of them on Lance in case of that Doom. They have all the supporting force behind him. Let's see if T1 can mount this defense.
Look at the hold up, but they're tossing him in place. Lance getting kited out underneath his tier 3 tower. The range is about to wear off. Hook shot in from Mozin's trying to keep the player safe, but it will work. Line turns through the front out. He resumes in the input. He's okay, Meracle. Hooks in towards Mozin and take out the clock. Candy, he jumped over the lasso. He's able to get onto Ferret, but he fallen too low. Is the bat dead as well? T1, they hold yet again, and now they're on the chase. The arrow will catch one to Meracle, but it falls him forward into the blink, close to the gap. The Abyssal, he's on top of the bear. Lance, he's got one more round with the ult. He does have the cheese, but he's surrounded by 4. The arrow also dodged. Lance is actually going to pop the cheese, but there's no chance of turning this on his own. He will get the kill onto the Yojam Grimstroke with the cleave, but he dies. It's another hold from T1.
Dyer's middle tower is under attack.
They may now be a set of ranks up in the mid, but T1's holding. Meracle's getting these kills. You know, they're at least living through these fights. And they're fighting back despite how far they are behind in items and farm across the board. And Meracle, you know, he still is the one at the top, followed closely by the 4 members of New Esports. They're keeping the game going, T1.
Yeah, absolutely. And DDZ there. He was the one who actually, he could have had a potential to save Lance. I do think he used all of his mana though. He used his full mana pool, and I think he got mana burned a bit. Did not have mana to swap Lance out of that scary position. So I think now that they've seen the toss back twice, they have to have some, you know, some plan prepared for when In Your Dream does go for those tossbacks. So definitely gonna have to watch and wait on DDZ for those swaps and either force stabs or anything to protect that Ursa who keeps getting put into an awkward position. So great defenses by T1.
And then, I mean, what Meracle... Shot in from Mosin, trying to go for Paulson. Grab him with the lasso. T1's going to fight this, but Meracle jumps in. They're going to be able to take the clock. And New Esports, they've got to be careful. They're sort of just making brash plays here. They see a Lich, they try and go in on him. They don't even kill him. And instead of giving away another kill to T1. This is pushing Meracle closer and closer towards his 25. And at that stage, I mean, the Mana Void cooldown did get buffed. I mean, you do have a Grim with a Soul Bind, so there's a lot of great ways to use that up with a low cooldown. Does he go for that, or do you favor the 20% magic resistance here?
Oh, the magic resistance is so bad. Nice. They're both kind of meh with this game. So.
Actually, that's true. I guess the magic, there's a lot of physical. So he probably goes cooldown, right?
Probably.
It's not that, dude. This is what, 20-second Mana Void with a Grim on your team. You're always going to have
a lot of mana cost.
True.
It hurts your mana pool quite a bit. That's what Oh, they actually get the wraparound, but they're actually caught out.
He's up in the air, strikes the side with the force up, he can't get away. Swap back by DDZ. New Esports back in position to get a good fight themselves. T1 try and commit onto Lance. They're not quite able to take him down, burn his mana away before he can turn and fight back with the backup of New Esports. I mean, it's 36 minutes in, and T1's got to remember, they still haven't taken down that mid-tier 1 tower. If they fight like that, New Esports are going to respond.
And they had vision of everybody. New Esports has vision of everyone. Candy gets a Lotus Sword before the Chain Frost. So actually it was a Chain Frost bouncing back on T1 the whole time during that fight too, which causes some big problems inside of that little cluster of an area. So New now on their own aggression, and Meracle has committed all of his goals.
There we go. The quick battlefield with the butterfly, and he jumped in straight around, and Lance has been doomed. Lance, he can't get out of it. The kick of the fire. This is what Bullet can get. Monster, he's trying to fight. He's been shot in, but they haven't got the Ursa. This is a very questionable decision here to try and commit without their there. They're just going to lose more heroes. The Soulbind links DDZ and the Flat Rider together. Candy's trying to find Pollitzen, but Pollitzen's up to the high ground. Pollitzen, he's probably got to tick out to the flame break, but it doesn't matter because T1, they killed 4 heroes for that. They needed to get the hell out of there as soon as Lance went down there, but for whatever reason, New Esports decided to throw some bonus heroes in for T1. And now, I mean, at this stage, they are struggling massively despite the lead that they've had this game, New Esports, and it's working for T1.Meracle. He's now 5k ahead of the Ursa's farm. I mean, as you said in the draft, it is a game where it can be very good for the Anti-Mage in this later portion, and especially when you're now a full item ahead of the enemy carry.
Exactly. The big thing is being that item ahead of the Ursa, and them just finding the Ursa over and over and over again with the Doom. I'm not sure. DDZ's just not swapping him. I'm not sure why. I think maybe he's unable to click on him or something in the midst of the illusions, but you can just click on the portrait up top. He's just letting his Ursa get doomed and focus fired, and he's not sacrificing his life for it. He has a swap available for 5 seconds.
I kind of forgot there was an Avenge.
He had it for 5 seconds in that fight, and then he got blinked on by the Tiny and Avalanched. He's just not swapping to protect Lance. I'm not too sure why.
Yeah, that is odd. Yeah, DDZ's got to back up his mate here.
A couple times now in a row. If they have that happen maybe one more time, then T1's gonna just have an advantage going into this one, which is crazy to say after like the 20,000 gold league, 20,000 experience league. They've almost evened out the experience. AM now has buyback on top of the butterfly he just bought. New Esports have to find better ways to approach these fights. They can't keep getting caught off guard by these tossbacks and such.
Ozzy's going to try and start the fight. And they jump in the entry, tried to get the toss back onto the last, but wasn't able to find. This time DDZ will try to save the chamber. Still on the out. Basketball. BKB's there for Candy. He's going to run short for it, but he comes to that. Forest still alive. Lance is falling low. He's out of the game. Lance dead again. New Esports could not save him, even with the swap coming in this time. DDZ already, the Chain Frosts were out and bouncing. The damage was done. DDZ also chased out. I mean, this looks like I don't know. New Esports just lost total control. They lost total control of a game that felt like it would be impossible to do so. They were so far ahead. They'd shut down the entire team, including Meracle. Meracle's game was not in a good spot, but now it's in an incredible spot. This game, sure, it's still a 6k lead for New Esports, but that lead was a 20k lead about 5 or so minutes ago. And at this point, if you're losing that advantage that quickly, I don't know how you're ever going to regain it.
No, I don't think. I mean, I think that even with the gold advantage, they're at a disadvantage even with that one. I think they've recognized the issue too slowly. Like, yeah, they get the bench swap this time, but not the 3 times before. You can't make 3 massive errors in the game when you're playing versus an AM.
Bottom tower has fallen.
And now Meracle has, I mean, like we said, he's got full reign. He's now pretty much got a full Linken's finished up on top of Minotaur Horn with all of his items. They don't have a solution to the butterfly either. And they just keep getting the perfect initiation with these Blink Daggers. This Grimstruck plus Chain Frost. They got a double Chain Frost on everybody there. Everything coming together for T1 these last 3-4 fights, and New. tough spot now in this game. They don't have the ways to actually just stand toe-to-toe with the AM. Ursa, he doesn't have the items. He doesn't have the MKD, he doesn't have the Satanic or something to match that AM's farm now.
Yeah, I mean, he pretty much got the Abyssal done, and then his game just came to a grinding halt. Nothing else has been completed after that. And yeah, now it's a 10k difference between Meracle and Lance. This gap is only getting bigger every single fight. They've got to kill this Anti-Mage, and they've had so many opportunities to try and end the game, and they didn't. They've thrown away their lives in team fights.
It's a good shot, but they're still forcing the issue on the They get this all on. Get it out to
again. I mean, these soul-bind combos are destroying Esports right now, rendering them absolutely useless in these team fights.
Double kill!
As
Calling your magic
know,
science won't spare you, Clockwork.
I mean, they may just even call it. I mean, they haven't lost anything on the high ground, but this game, I mean, they must be starting to realize that they've just lost it. It's all been gone. It's all gone away from them.
T1 adapted and improvised, while New Esports kind of just kept running their head into a wall, it seemed like. And, you know, they just initiated on Forev, I feel like, for like the second time or so when he has an Aeon Disc. Aeon Disc pops, combo breaker. They can't actually focus fire down, and then it actually sets them up for the perfect initiation on T1. Grimstroke and the Lich, both in the backlines behind a tanky Doom. They click their ultimates. New Esports runs into them and just gets eradicated by everything there. Lance dies before he gets pretty much anything off from that Abyssal Blade.
Roche, there you go. And looks to be a 3-1 for T1. Buyback did come out to Candy, but nobody else. Lance holding on to his. So no tools to contest the Roche ship. Courier's going to be sent in. And we'll go down here. So he's trying his best to keep it hidden in the cliff. They're hunting for it. And there they will find it. So more money being thrown away at T1. And after they take this road, and now an 8k advantage themselves. Aegis on Meracle. Yokam's going to take the refresher shard, and certainly with good intentions was seen every single time. He's getting the soul binds off perfectly.
Yeah. The game's easy for them, honestly, now. After these, like, humongous blunders by New Esports over and over and over again in a row, everyone on T1 has more than enough items now to, you know, just to secure the fights. Like, look at this Grimstroke now. He's got a Hex, he's got a Pressure Shard, and he's got the Timeless Relic. So he's at a crazy potential. Lich level 23, like, all of them just got so much in the last, because they won every fight in the last 10, 12 minutes. All has been going in their favor, everyone acquiring crazy amounts of items, and New Esports' item progression has completely stopped since those last 12 minutes. Lance has been working on the Satanic since the 30-minute mark.
Shadows take us.
They're going to try and move out with the Moonlight. See if they can catch T1 split up. See what they can find. Candy, he's in onto the Doom, but again the soul back out. We'll put the Candy. There does manage to load us back. One of the Shade Cross at least. But the Doom, it's out onto Lance. Lance needs help, but he needs it now. They move him over to the side. And the Dream Time step forward. Miracle jumps over the Abyssal Blade. They're going to be able to find it there. Ursa will go down. Lance fights back immediately. Miracle turns his attention over towards DDZ. The Hex out as well. The man being burned from this turn. DDZ being focused down by Meracle. Meracle bringing him low, jumps to the side to avoid the Ursa, gets away from Lance. They do lose the T1. Losing for Rev. Can you get more? They need to get more. The arrow duped out by Wallace and Caddy. Chases in, trying to knock him out of the flame break with the soul bind into the two-man exit. Bring it down with the Random boys from Meracle. It's a die back on Lance. Dead for 2 minutes. Mozen gets the stun onto Meracle, but Meracle at this point, level 28, he's far too tanky for any of the other members of New Esports to take down. As Meracle can just look to chase on for the cleanup. Find themselves Yamate in the trees with the Shiva's Guard into the Avalanche toss combo of In Your Dreams. Silence from the boat of Yokam. It's going to be a 3rd kill for T1. 3 heroes dead. No buybacks available. I mean, this game, it really does feel like it's over, as New Esports, they've just had such a sort of terrible last 15 minutes of this game. There's a rapier picked up from Meracle. He's feeling confident. He's ready to just put this series to an end.
He wants to look cool with that rapier at the end too. So I think he just knows he can end it. Yep. Ursa, Venge, Murano, all dead. They can look to just hit the tier 4 as that's exactly doing here. Gonna try to go for the lasso, but he's got the Lincolns, and they should just do the cleanup this game.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Put the fortification. I mean, DDZ's back in 15. But very little they can do to stop Meracle cleaning up the base, even if they did he has an Aegis to fall back on as well. Morton steps in. Meracle turns, playing more kills for the Stormborn. As he brings down the Clockwork, takes out the Battle Rider. This game's over. This series is done as T1 will be the victors here, knocking down New Esports. And this game 3 definitely a painful one for New Esports to look back on. They had such